Welcome back, kids. Hey, was that Mr. Rogers enough for you?
Yes.
Welcome back, kids. Three uncool cats. Bob, Alan.
Whoops.
We keep switching chairs because it's fun.
Yep.
So we hope you like it too.
Yeah.
And maybe you can kind of start recognizing who we are. So we're trying to trick you. This week, what are we doing? ZZ Top, Tres Hombres from 1973, as the Italians like to say. This band, to me, I always think of them as because for me it was always in the 80s. I didn't really, I mean, of course I knew these songs, but in the 80s it was all about the image for me. They were like the first band, you know, they had the cars, the beards, they had all that. So, but enough for me. Alan brought this to us to listen to, so I'll let him get the show rolling.
Alrighty, so ZZ Top for me, when I was a kid, you know, they were big. They had the Eliminator album, and that was accepted by my metalhead friends, okay? But only that album, okay?
I think it was the chicks, too.
Well, yeah, they always had hot chicks in their videos as well. And, you know, they still do that today. Yeah. You see, they drop a new video. You know, Billy Gibbons is 147 years old, right? And he's still, like the last video I saw of him is a couple of years ago, and he's got this song that's got almost like a Cuban beat to it.
I take offense to that. He's 4 years older than I am.
But anyway, okay, so right, but his swagger, he's surrounded by hot chicks all the time, right? Yeah. So, So I've told you all this before. I was a huge blues fan, but when I was young, I wasn't as, you know, I cared about what my friends thought, right? So I was a closet blues guy, right? Almost like when I finally told them, guys, I really love the blues, it was like I was coming out to them, right? So, but for me, ZZ Top was my gateway into the blues. Okay, because I listened to the Eliminator album and I was like, that's different. You know, it's 80s, but it's also different. So then that led me to Stevie Ray Vaughan, who was you know, contemporary at the time, which was obviously more bluesy. But then as I'm going deeper into ZZ Top, they're clearly Texas blues, right? So that led me to.
Hey, we're back. Little tornado outside. That's all right. We gotta go.
It was the Zonky. We got attacked by the Zonky, and it cut the power lines.
Yeah. Zonkies and gremlins at the same time.
So anyway, as we were saying, right? As I started getting deeper into these guys, it led me to you know all the great blues guys. You know, Muddy Waters. It led me ultimately to Robert Johnson, and for years all I would listen to was blues. There was always a documentary, a book, something, and I literally could give a discourse on the blues music, and it all started with ZZ Top. So it'd been a while since I'd listened to this album. When I was given guitar lessons, I would always at some point. They were going to learn Waiting on the Bus. They were going to learn Jesus Just Left Chicago and LaGrange, because those were staples when I was growing up. It's, you know, and those types of songs taught you a lot of things, not just about the blues, but about music in general, right? You know, you teach you how to navigate the fretboard and do certain licks. So
talk about identifying the pocket.
Yes, yeah, three dudes.
Yeah,
always locked in. So I chose this album because it's been a while since I listened to it. And I wanted to just kind of, does it still resonate with me? So I'll tell you, for me, the album didn't age well for me. Now, obviously the big hits do, you know, and you go, okay, then why are these hits on this album when the rest of the album didn't age so well? Well, I think those songs were so true and pure, LaGrange, Jesus Left Chicago, Waiting on the Bus, where the others maybe, you know, there was a couple songs on here that were a little bit more popish, they were a little bit more something else, but all in all, I'm a huge ZZ Top fan. Was curious what you guys were thinking about it, so there we go. That's why I brought it to you. So whichever one wants to go first, go first. While I drink my Vietnamese coffee.
Very good. You've been working on that,
I have.
haven't you?
Yeah. Heather was like, "Why are you sitting in the room going Vietnamese? Vietnamese." So,
Do you want to do rock, paper, scissors to see who goes next?
Yeah. How do you do that?
you do rock, paper,
We didn't have that when I was growing up.
They just had
We
rock,
didn't have
rock, and rock.
We didn't have rocks when I was a kid.
They had rock, rock, and rock.
rock, and
Ready?
sand. Oh, what are the
Oh,
odds?
scissors. All right, go again.
He
What
got
the
me.
heck was that?
It didn't come out. It was stuck.
I said
My scissors were
he's
stuck.
tricking me.
I
It was
have
going to be a
I
tie
have a
again. but-
switchblade scissor.
Okay, I'll take it. I love it. I love them. I'll tell you a quick story about my young son.
Long story short.
Yeah.
A long story short. No, this is
long
something
story.
that. This is a long story long.
Short story long.
I've got a son that is now.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
How old is he? He was born in '86. But when he was still in diapers, and he's going to love me telling this, but when he was still in diapers, I remember going to, my wife and I went to a Christmas party,
Yeah.
and the kids stayed home with their grandmother.
Go ahead.
Is there a bird?
No, go ahead. I'm just making sure we're still recording since that last fiasco.
Yeah, it seems to be.
Yeah, the tornado's gone. We're all right.
You're looking at people.
You're looking at all 35 of our subscribers. Which reminds me, if we get to 100 subscribers, we're going to listen to a Taylor Swift album.
Yes.
Sorry.
So
I thought
maybe
that was
we
a good
can hit.
segue.
Okay, so to make a long story longer, my son, who was born in '86,
Yeah.
my wife and I had gone. I'm refreshing your memory.
Yeah.
Had gone to a Christmas party,
Yeah.
and we got home, and the kids were still up, and I put LaGrange on
Yeah.
the stereo. I had two big speakers that sat in the floor, and my son, who was just little, he was still in diapers, but I remember him having these bib overalls, and I got the video camera, the one you have to hoist up on your shoulder.
Right.
Well, I had one of those, and I have the tape somewhere. I haven't been able to find it. But he got in front of one of those speakers, and I'm telling you, a look came in his eyes, and he couldn't snap his fingers, but he's moving his hands as if he was,
Right.
and he was pumping up and down and to the music.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's something in that kind of music that has
It resonates.
an effect on people.
Yeah.
The primal beat.
It is. Yeah.
And that's what it's got for me. The primal beat, man. I really like Frank Beard's drumming.
Yeah.
He's so
Who, by the way, is the only one that does not
That's
have
right.
a beard in the band.
Right.
yes. He's the only one. The other two do. But he plays so precisely, and the way those three guys interact.
Yeah.
They've got it down pat because they play the same set pretty much every night. But the way Dusty Hill played bass with the drums, man, you talk about a unit.
Oh, yeah.
But yet he would go off on his own. All three of them would go off on their own thing, and they were just tasteful.
It never got loose though.
No.
It was always so tight.
It was tight.
Yeah.
And I'm like you. There are a couple songs on that album that I don't care for much, but there is a place in my heart for them.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Because they're on the album.
I agree.
And it was during that time for me, back,
So
late 70s, early 80s.
You're talking about how there's something in the music, and this kind of music that makes people, just move. The last guy that I gave guitar lessons to, not the last guy, the guy before last was Cody, right?
I know Cody.
This kid is a phenom. I'm telling you, you're going to see him eventually because he plays with my brother's band now.
Oh, cool.
When I left, Cody takes over, and my brother's like, should have done that years ago. So
He was good as a kid.
yeah, I mean, literally, as a 10-year-old, he was better than most adults, right? So when I was giving him some lessons, I didn't teach him anything. It was literally there. I just needed to show him what to do. But we had learned a lot of stuff. He would come to me, and he's wanting to learn, Metallica and this. And I said, today we're going to learn something a little bit more nuanced. Not that Metallica's not nuanced, but, something that... And we played Waiting on the Bus. And I mean, you could see it. He was just like, oh my gosh. And then...
That whole song's in this hand, not in this
That's
hand.
right. It is. And then... After that, that's how he would warm up. He would come in and he would play Waiting on the Bus. And then his brother was a year younger than him. And at one point, his brother was getting lessons from Gene. So they would come in on the night that I was giving Cody a lesson. We'd be at the church. So his brother would get on the drums, and it was me and Cody playing guitar, and I was, and I would go, listen to each other, guys, just listen. And then you could hear it. And then when they heard it too, and it was playing this kind of stuff, locking in. Yep. But you're right. So I say all that to go, yes, this kind of music resonates with a lot of people, no matter what genre you fall into. Most of the time, when you hear these songs, you can't help but going, there's something there.
Yeah. And they have remained fairly steady throughout their whole career. But I heard Billy Gibbons say to somebody, somebody was interviewing him, and he said, we're just three guys that want to play.
Yeah.
We just love playing music.
Yep.
And I thought, boy, that boils it down.
Well, to me, they remind me of AC/DC, and the fact that, and I mean this in the best possible way, AC/DC, as soon as you hear it, it's derivative. I mean, you can't go anywhere else. Although it all sounds the same, it all does not sound the same.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But you know it's them. And to me, ZZ Top is the same. Like, to me, like LaGrange and Waiting for the Bus sounds like all their 80s jams that they had. And I mean that in a good, like, you know what you're getting with them kind of thing.
Right. And it is a jam.
Yeah.
I mean, they lead the listener, the audience, to a place. They're involved, just like my son was. I mean, they're involved. They're captured.
Well, like on the breakdown on getting in the, Waiting on the Bus. You're going along, and you get that groove, and all of a sudden he goes into that solo, and they take you somewhere. You're like, I didn't expect that, and then they bring you right back into the groove.
And a lot of their songs go places you don't expect.
Yes.
And I'm familiar with the number system, and and I'm thinking, what did he do there?
Right, You go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I know flat 7. He went to a what?
He went to an 8.5.
He's using Roman numerals.
But they did, and they did it in a way that they would bring it back around, or they wouldn't. They just end the song.
Yeah.
And it was always, to me,
fresh.
Fresh. That's a good word.
There's a documentary. I was going to watch it again today, but it was on Netflix for a while, and it's called ZZ Top, Little Band from Texas. Have y'all seen it? Mm-mm. All right, so it's not on. Now you have to rent it on Amazon. Yeah. It's like $3, but I watched it, and then Matt Coleman came to me at rehearsal one day. He goes, "Hey, you're a ZZ Top fan?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Have you seen the doc?" Now Matt Coleman, you would never think, because he was
right.
You wouldn't think he was a ZZ Top fan, even though he's got a long beard, okay? But I
hadn't put two and two together. Yeah.
But he comes and he goes, "Have you seen? It's an amazing video." So it's all about how they got started, okay? And so Frank Beard, right, hears about these two dudes in Texas that needed a drummer, and he was like in Chicago or something. He just gets in the car on one day and just left home. He just drives to Texas with nothing but, I'm going to find these dudes. And I'm going to, because Billy Gibbons had been in a band that had a little bit of success called the Moving Sidewalks.
Yep.
Right? And he had opened
a horrible name for a band.
I know, it's terrible.
It's like, where'd that come from?
And in this documentary, he tells about when he was with the Moving Sidewalks and he opened up for Jimi Hendrix. Mm-hmm. And then after the show, they go back out on, to the stage, and they use guitars to paint on this big giant canvas, right? They're just throwing paint and all this kind of stuff. And of course, when Billy Gibbons talks, he's the epitome of cool. Yeah, mm-hmm. He is the epitome of cool. The way he tells the story, he could tell a story about just chopping.
Opposite of you.
Oh, that's hurtful. Yeah, I know I'm not cool. So, but he could literally tell a story about carrying in firewood, and it's going to be the coolest story ever.
Right.
But
he could read the phone book, as they say.
Seriously, right? So Frank Beard
Does everybody
shows
out
up.
there know what a phone book is?
I know, right?
They're like, phone book? What the hell?
I do.
So he shows up and
you had the phone book that had 3 numbers in it.
Hog, Krog, and Gog.
Yeah. Yeah, the same names that the lady on the other end of the line when you
wound your
when
phone
you wound
up.
the phone up. Hello, Margaret. Get me Sheriff Taylor.
Sheriff Taylor, line 1. Oh wait, we only have 1 line. Sorry, that one.
No, that look, I can remember that. Yeah, I was on the back end of that. You're not too much younger. You're the young one of the group, but anyway, so he finds them. He finds where Billy Gibbons is living. He says, "Hey, I want to be part of this band." And the story goes that they said, "Okay." So they show up in this warehouse and they start playing. And he says, "We were playing an A shuffle in, or a shuffle in like A minor." And he goes, "And we played for 2 hours, right?" And he goes, "I knew that was the band."
And I heard one where and Billy Gibbons was talking in this particular one, and he said, "And we liked it." He said it was good, so we just kept going. Yep. And then they went and got something to eat.
Wouldn't you just love to hear like that? What happened?
Yeah.
Or like when Dave Grohl first played with Nirvana, or
that magical moment.
What did that and? Where did they like stop and go like, holy shnikes?
Right.
Like
that's a good point, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, do they know? They gotta know.
I tell you, there are, and we all know that there are moments, and they're rare sometimes. They're slow in coming, but there are moments where things click.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's worth any of the trouble you have to go through or whatever.
And then when you're done, you're like, where the hell did that come from?
Right.
Yeah. And I can't catch it again.
Right. And it's a high, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like when I was doing stand-up comedy, the first time that I had a really good solid show that I could tell that I was resonating with the crowd, man, it's better than a drug, man. It's better than a drug. And then I always wanted to experience that in a band setting. And, I've done it a few times.
I'm going to tell you something I have not told you before.
Okay.
Oh.
We were playing in Orange Beach.
Are you guys going to hug afterwards?
Probably.
You never know. You never know. We could have that moment.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm gonna move over and get
if you do, just make sure we're on the
move
show. You guys start going around this.
That's how we always end up in a different spot.
We were playing, and I think
when the music stops, that's where we sit.
We were set up in that house on the beach, and had our
Was
stuff.
this that last time you were down there?
Yeah. Had all the equipment set up, and everybody was playing. I can't remember the song, but I remember the feeling. It's as if I was there. It's one of those things.
You were there.
Yeah. Come to think of it, I was.
You were dropping gummies that day.
Stop.
You told me they were vitamins. You son of a...
I think that's what I came out to and said, I've been doing this thing called gummies.
Yeah.
You're their Flintstone
my
vitamins.
neck was hurting so bad. He said, "Here, try a quarter of one of these." And I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna hurt." No, but anyway, we were in the middle of playing a song, and it was clicking. And I was sitting in a chair over here with my bass, and you were sitting just off from me there. And
you're sitting there going, Alan, don't mess this up.
No, but I remember thinking, this is one of those times.
Yeah.
And it really was. And we were playing, we were in sync, everything was working. Yeah. And it was one of those times.
It was the goodness of God. I remember it. Because look, so one of the things that we've done in the past that is really cool is the group will go and we'll just get a cabin, or on this we were at this. It was a mansion on the beach.
Yeah.
And
nice.
We just move all the furniture out and we just set up and we play, right? And I'm one of those musicians. I know where I am. I know. Yeah.
That day he was.
Right. I have no, illusions that I'm a great guitar player, but. A blind squirrel every now and then. That's hurtful. A blind squirrel every.
I meant for myself. Let me clarify there.
This song was in my wheelhouse.
Yeah,
it was. It led to a blues style solo.
just
Yeah.
opened up for you. Just
And I remember because we were feeling it. The whole band was into this.
Yeah.
And the women were singing it. I think Marilyn was leading it.
Yep,
Which
she
Marilyn's
does.
amazing voice, right? And when it came, so this song, Andrew, it goes along, and then there's this moment to where the singing stops, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then massive arena style solo, right?
Yeah.
And we were sitting there,
Yeah.
and I was like, you know, we were all in such
and
a
if you
good
come in
place.
wrong, you're blowing the whole
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And I played this solo, and I could tell halfway through the solo that everybody was, of course, already it was tight.
Yeah,
The whole song was tight. And when I got done and we finished, I remember I looked over at you, and you were like, and then Gene stops, and he goes, man. He goes, Alan. And I was like,
It was that good. It really
That's when you
was.
go, I'm not playing for the rest of the
right.
day.
Well, and that's pretty much what I did. If you'll remember, I was like, I think I might have played rhythm on the next song, and then I called it done because
Said, let's go get a hot dog or something.
that was the highlight of my playing.
Let's go to Zesto's and get a hot dog.
That's right. So, but you know, those moments are awesome.
They are.
You know, whether
are.
I experience it from my playing or I witness it with somebody else's playing or singing. You know, how many times have we heard the girls sing and you're just like, holy moly,
Yeah.
you know?
And that's rich stuff.
It is.
I mean, that's better than money. And these guys, they played for half a day,
Yeah.
and he said then they went to get something to eat,
Yeah.
and then they came back and played for another half a day
Yeah.
until the next night.
Yeah.
They just kept playing.
Right.
But with the kind of music that they do and the caliber players that they are, it would have been a hoot, man.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
even
And
be
the fact
sitting
he
there
uses
watching.
7-gauge strings you can play all day.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But you know, have you seen him? You know, you hear him, and you go, "Oh my gosh!" But you see him; he's a lazy player.
Yep.
He's figured it out.
Yep.
I don't have to do a lot of moving to do all
That's
that.
why he uses those strings too. He
That's
goes,
right.
doesn't hurt my fingers. I can play all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I saw him play on a YouTube video with John Fogerty,
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
and they were playing back and forth between Creedence songs and ZZ Top
Oh,
songs.
cool.
But when they were on a Creedence song, I was watching Billy Gibbons' hand. He wasn't doing nothing.
That's right.
But you didn't know that
Yep.
if you weren't paying attention.
that's right.
you know, he-
Nice.
Yeah. He's.
But he
figured
was
it out.
he was in the moment still.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was funny.
Yeah, and this is the first time I've ever because ZZ they were on the radio all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like it's the first time I've actually listened to an actual album
Really.
from beginning to end of theirs. You know, because
Yeah.
they're just all over the place. It's like, all right, I know what they are. You know.
Yeah. But no, I mean, if you think about
Yeah, but
it,
some of these songs, like Master of Sparks, is my new favorite ZZ Top song.
yeah,
I like the drums in there, and they have like this little hesitation.
yeah,
Like they skip a beat, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so friggin' cool.
It
I thought
is,
that was awesome.
and they do that kind of stuff
Yeah.
throughout. I thought about this album. I thought each song is. It's like it's the same, but it's
Yeah,
different.
But that's what I mean. Yeah, you know.
But then
it's
they'll
them,
take
but
a
it's like-
song and dissect it a little bit, and the song has
yeah,
different parts in the middle of it, so they keep it fresh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and
like,
songs. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking of songs like Hot Blue and Righteous and Have You Heard?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know he could sing like that.
Right.
Like that really like his
That's
range.
that's Dusty Hill.
Yeah, that. Oh, okay. Because I was thinking that
Oh,
range
okay.
is way out of what
That's
I'm
what
used
I was
to.
thinking
Okay.
too. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which he
Yep.
to look at him, he looks like he'd be singing a lower
Yep.
register.
Yeah.
But he sang a lot of high stuff.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was
And he's
great.
got that voice that kind of trails
Yeah.
off at the end. I can't do it. I wish I could.
So
but,
Hot
man.
Blue and Righteous, Heather, when I was listening on and I was making
Yeah.
some notes, she goes, "What are you listening to?" And I said, "So you know that I do bring you up in some of these episodes." I said, "Hot Blue and Righteous. Is this a song about Heather?"
Oh,
But you know, that's the thing with these guys. You know, they've also over the years they tweaked their sound.
yeah.
And it keeps them relevant. You know, because there's a resurgence of 80s stuff
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
And these guys will come up on YouTube and I'll go, okay, you know, I'll go down nostalgia lane and listen to it. I'm like, they didn't evolve at all.
Yeah.
ZZ Top, you can see the evolution. There's still ZZ Top.
Yeah.
But there's an evolution.
They're still in a little slot away from
Exactly.
everybody
Yep, that's
else.
right. Yep.
They're
Yeah.
still in their own lane.
And it's weird to me too because I think like you said earlier, like to me, I feel like when I think of Texas blues, like rock, like I think of them, but at the same time, they're not really that either.
That's right.
Though.
You're right.
Right.
They're hard to define.
They're a little of this and a little of that, and they put it all together really well.
And they have fuzzy guitars.
That tongue-in-cheek nature that they have.
I like that too. Yeah.
So
and their choreography. A lot of these, we have talked about other bands, even this very night or day or whatever it is, about the choreography part.
Yeah.
And a lot of it,
boop.
A lot of it nowadays is just, you can take it or leave it.
Right.
But they had something that was special to me.
Yeah.
When they did it, it was cool.
Well, here's the thing.
And because I think part of it feels real with them.
That's
like
where
it's probably like, hey, dude, let's just do this.
Yeah.
But with this, the other stuff, it's like you can tell it's just show.
Yeah. It's choreography for everybody else, but for them, they want, hey, let's do this, and they don't take themselves serious with. So
and
it
like,
comes
hey,
across
let's
as
spin our
real.
guitars around.
That's right. That's right.
You said it right there. They don't take themselves seriously.
Which
they're serious musicians.
Yeah.
But by George, they're having fun.
Which gets me to some of the stuff in the documentary that I just thought was a freaking hoot, man. When they made it big, and I forget which, it was the 1974 or 5 worldwide Texas tour that they had. Have you heard how they did it? They said, we're taking Texas to the world. The stage was in the shape of Texas.
Nice.
Okay? And on it, they had a longhorn steer, real animals.
Pigs.
A black buffalo. Yeah, they had 2 vultures, 2 rattlesnakes, an armadillo, a bison, tarantulas, 6 buzzards, and a javelina, which I didn't know what a javelina is. It's a wild pig, right? So they had to
I
take...
think it's a javelina.
See? Look at you.
I'm bilingual.
He's by something, that's for sure.
Or a fig.
Lingual. That's what I'm buying.
Right. Very good. We're multicultural on here.
See?
Man, you guys are way up. I'm down here.
So the tour also included animals.
So it's like a circus more than a tour.
It was. Animal
Load
trainers.
the animals up.
No kidding.
The tour set included a 68-foot stage in the shape of Texas. There were 260 speakers, 130 light fixtures.
They had a bearded lady.
Yeah, I mean, it was a carnival, and they showed clips. They showed clips from this, and you're like, it was like a wild traveling circus,
That's
right?
Awesome.
But on one of there was in Pittsburgh. They put this show on in Pittsburgh, right? In June 12th of 1976, they put it on in Pittsburgh. The next day, the headlines reported 250 people had been injured among the crowd of 70,000 people due to the animals.
Nice.
Petting animals.
One of the steer fell off the stage or something.
So after that,
they're running with the bulls.
So after
Running
that,
with the javelins.
they were the javelinas. I asked my wife where she works. There's an interpreter, and I said I need to know how to say the 3 uncool cats in Spanish. So when this goes out, it's gonna be very Spanishy on the title.
Spanishy.
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
Well, yeah.
So anyway, so at the end of this tour, they're huge, right? They're massive and they're tired. The tour went on for like 2 or 3 years, right? And they made it this huge circus thing, so they decided to take some time off. Have y'all heard this story?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So Dusty Beard, he's just doing whatever Dusty Beard does. I think he was struggling with alcohol at the time. Well,
Dusty Hill, you mean?
Yeah, or Frank Beard.
Or Frank Beard, yeah.
Dusty.
You're like Dusty Beard.
Yeah, so
You meant Dusty Rhodes.
it's the
Dusty Rhodes.
Vietnamese coffee is getting to me now. So Billy Gibbons is just traveling the world, right? Dusty Hill starts working at an airport. throwing baggage on an airplane. One of the richest men in the world at the moment, and he's just throwing baggage on an airplane. He does this for like a year.
He said he did that to get grounded.
Yes.
Worked at an airport. Okay.
But think about that and wonder how many people came in contact with him and didn't know it.
Imagine being on break, you're like, is that friggin' Dusty?
Yeah, I think that's Dusty.
And he said he would deny it was him if somebody would ask him.
He'd probably be like, I get that all the time.
Yeah. And his beard wasn't as long.
It wasn't,
then. That was just kind of the start of that.
Yeah.
And then so the question was, how did you guys come up with the beard thing? He goes, well, when we finally got back together, we just like...
We both had beards.
That's a great story, but there's one other story I wanted to highlight from that documentary, and you got to watch it. You got to watch it.
Tell me what to
it's
do.
so good. Watch it. Marilyn, we need HR on you. So, but they're talking about how they came up with that sound. Okay, there's 2 stories in there to illustrate how they came up, how they evolved into the ZZ Top we love.
Here's another thing to interject. They would sit on a couch, the 3 of them side by side, and give you a different answer.
That's
each
true.
one of them. So
Which I think is fun.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious.
It's fun. So the story goes is they're in this little studio, and this guy, have y'all heard this story? This guy, he was like, play it this way, right? And he was like, it needs to be fatter. You know, they kept saying the guitar tone needs to be fatter. Won't we double it? No, we're not doubling it. He goes, it needs to be so. So he goes, we worked on it all night long. He says, so finally, their manager comes in. I may have this backwards. Somebody walks in and realizes, this ain't going well. And he says, hey, man, why don't you go get us some barbecue? And the barbecue is like 2 hours down the road. So the sound engineer guy, the producer, he gets up and he goes. And while they're going, they double track these guitars. And how they did it is they did like the one riff, and then they slightly detuned the guitar and did it a second time, which made it fat and thick, right? And when they came back, they were playing it. He was, "That's the sound, man. That's the sound." But it took him like 4 hours to go get the barbecue.
I hadn't heard that one.
No, it's on there. So then the next story is how did he get his voice? Because you can tell his voice.
Yeah.
Well, they were at another recording session. I want to say they said it was in Chicago, and it was like 10 degrees outside or something. It had been raining, and he was a little under the weather, and he wanted that growl. So they stopped the recording session. He went outside and ran around the just kept running around the block, getting sicker and sicker. And when he came back in, he sang, and he goes, "There we go, there it is." So that's how they came up. Some of the steps supposedly to get us to the ZZ Top that we love.
Yeah, and they have a lot of stories for a lot of things, and you don't know what to believe, but that's how they stayed anonymous.
Yeah.
They didn't like. I mean, they did. They liked the attention and so forth, but they didn't, particularly care for people that were interviewing them.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I love the lore when people are playing with you like that, but they're not doing it in a mean way.
Yeah.
I like that. You go, well, what are they going to tell me this time?
Dan Rather interviewed Billy Gibbons, and he.
I saw that. That was pretty good.
It was. Yeah. It was.
Yep.
And so he asks him a question. I think it was how they got their name, and he gives an answer, and he said, "That's what it is today."
Yeah.
Because in the documentary, he says he had in his little crappy room he had in Texas when they were trying to he had a B.B. King poster.
Right.
And
that was a story.
That's
he
what
told.
I saw too. Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell them.
No. They need to watch it. Watch it.
Okay.
I don't remember the whole story anyway.
That's the real reason.
Well, they couldn't use BB, so ZZ was kind of had a zing to it.
Yeah.
And they couldn't use ZZ King, the name was already taken, but BB King was on top, so they used top.
That's what I saw too.
That's kind of what he told Dan Rather.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, still, it's a fun story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All their stories are fun. I liked. I think Frank Beard is the straight guy. I think the other two can get carried away with being funny or just enjoying life.
Yeah.
But Frank Beard, bless his heart, he just enjoyed drugs.
Yeah.
He had a hard time of it, and that's really why they split for 3 years. They just went their separate ways because he had such a problem. But I saw an interview with him where he said he just loved it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He loved the drugs and what they did, and
I mean, people do them because they feel good.
Yeah. But he came to a point where, because that had ruined a lot of his life, he checked himself into a rehab, 30 days and something like that. But anyway, while they were apart, they were doing their own things, but they came back together and never missed a lick.
Yeah. Well, now that Dusty's dead, have you seen any of the live stuff with their new guy?
Yeah, they're still pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
Elwood Francis.
Dude,
they're still pretty good.
I like him.
And he was their guitar tech.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
I saw
that.
that too,
That's where he came from.
look, what a great story.
He's like, because he knew everything. You think he was his bass tech, wasn't he?
Both.
Yeah, because he's like, he knew all the songs.
The
so
rig.
It's like yep.
Because I've been watching some of the live stuff, to get caught up on this. Man, it's still tight, and he's got the look.
Yep.
He's got the look and the vibe.
Yep.
Well, he and they somebody was saying that Billy Gibbons, every once in a while he'll go over and tug on his beard just to let people know it's real, it's not fake. Because there were stories, there were rumors.
So to finish up my thought on that is when you're looking at how they're getting on up in age, and you were talking about he uses 7-gauge strings, their guitars, he's got a lot of custom guitars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he demands that they be extremely light.
Yep.
And I was watching one rig run down, and when they weighed the guitar, it was barely over 5 pounds.
Yeah, you don't see him using Les Pauls.
No, I mean he did back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's back when Les Pauls literally were
12 pounds.
So a guitar player guy that we know, Lyndall, he has a 1980 or 81, I can't remember, white Les Paul. And so one day I thought, I'm going to play it. It was the heaviest guitar I have ever played in my life. And it wouldn't stay in tune.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the other thing with Gibsons too.
Well,
yeah.
okay, yes. Yeah. Well, Gibsons are bad about the neck snapping.
Right? Yep.
So for months we were like, man, you're not in tune. You're not in tune. He's like, he's always trying to tune it. So one day we're like, what do you think's the problem with it not being in tune? Because we've played Les Pauls before. You had one that I borrowed, and it stayed in tune.
Yeah.
Right. And he goes, well, I broke the neck back in '85, and
that
I don't think we ever put it back on right. I'm like, okay.
That could have something to do with it.
Yeah.
But it was the heaviest guitar I've ever played.
Yeah, I was having a bad night one night, and I said, "Are you gonna tune that thing?"
It was. I mean, it wasn't just slightly out of tune. You're like, oh my gosh.
Well, this chord's in tune perfectly. This one, not so much.
Yeah. Which is an indication that there's something wrong with the intonation.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
That was pretty well.
Man, that was
so technical.
That was off the cuff, too, man.
That was good.
Thank you.
You want to do it again?
We can edit it. We'll never be able to do it again.
Take the best one.
All right, so we've had a good discussion about ZZ Top, so I think we all are ZZ Top fans still.
It sounds like we'll have to see his point system here.
Oh,
well, I tell you what,
Lord.
I loved them back in the day, and I always will, because like I said, they're in their own lane, and I just value that. I value their ability to stay there and still be relevant, still make you move, and 50 years.
Yeah.
Man, what? Yeah. When we've been playing together for 50 years, I guess I'll be 130.
And they'll still be going, you remember that one time down at the beach when you literally played the guitar good for once?
That was great. I hold it dear to my heart.
49 years, 11 months, and 28 days of crap, and you did.
Well, are we ready for? I did score them, just for fun, just because I knew I loved them. But I just wanted to see how much, so I went through the process.
If we ever go away from your point system, I think the 39 people who are subscribed to us,
they're gone.
They're gonna riot, man. They'll burn down cities. Okay, maybe trailers.
Trailers.
to
burn down Ireland. Subscribe, Ireland.
Yeah, I told my wife, I was like, we put a challenge down on Ireland. She goes, a person? I went, no, the country. I said, Andrew laid it down for him, man.
I tell you what, I bought a timeshare once upon a time, I'm sad to say, but the guy that was the salesman was very good, and he said, if you could go anywhere that you wanted to go in the world, where would it be? And I said, Ireland. I just love it, and I don't want them to burn it down before I get there.
All right.
So don't burn it down. Just subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. That'll be good.
Yeah. Now,
All right.
those folks in Monoma.
Yeah, the Lackawanna Numi.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I was trying to think of what the name of that was.
I'm gonna write a letter if I have the zip code.
I don't even know that it sounds like one of those places that doesn't.
They have to fly a plane over and just drop the letter down there.
Now, do you want me to go over the scores?
Do it
first?
upside down. Maybe it will be a different scoring system.
The first thing I have to tell you is today is no penalty lyric day.
What?
Whoa!
Not even
No
for Jesus
penalty.
Left Chicago?
No penalty lyric.
Okay.
No.
See, I thought even though it was swampy as can be, that the message of that song was pretty spiritual.
I love that song.
It told me
There was no blaspheme in that song.
they know something about
You like
Jesus,
that?
and I'm thinking that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So okay, let me get to the meat of the matter.
Get to the nitty gritty, the gritty nitty.
Now I'm gonna have to work on this. You remember the episode where we had 323 points possible
Yeah,
per
and it
song?
had like 17 and something with a 20.
Well, that ironically turned out to be exactly what each one of these songs were. The possible points for these
Ironically,
songs.
I mean,
yeah,
it's
so
just
some-
how magically it
Wow.
happened.
You know, I don't know how these
I
things.
mean, with that
but
new
it came
math,
out-
I'm surprised you worked out with the same number.
Did you draw a picture to show
So-
why your
Yeah,
answer
to show
is
your
correct?
work.
Well, I kind of did. I mean, I've got it all written out here.
He didn't square the hypotenuse.
I saw that.
Well,
you
you
didn't
don't
take
know
the
that.
square root of that either.
I may have figured that into one of these. But here's the thing. Isn't that what Biden says all the time? Here's the
He
thing.
doesn't know what the hell he's saying.
That's true.
Depends on which Biden we're getting, the real one or the...
Yeah, the hologram.
Yeah, the one is juiced up. Possible points for the entire album: 30 to 30.
32. 3,230?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
That's 322 or 323 times 10.
Okay.
10 songs.
10 songs.
So I'm giving you my secrets here, but anyway, possible 32-30. There were a couple songs here that had a borderline being a questionable, we'll put it that, questionable meaning
Okay.
to the song.
Okay.
You know, like the one that was talking about the brothel outside of LaGrange.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I subtracted 837 points for the questionable meaning.
I thought it was no penalty lyric
Yeah.
day.
So.
But then I added back the 837 because it's no
Okay.
penalty
See?
lyric
I
day.
like how you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got an 837 point discount. You know,
I'd just like to point out that Bob has so much time during the day he can get a green marker and write all this stuff.
Yeah.
And the fact that he has a green marker. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's very neat. I couldn't find the black one.
And he spelled everything
Why
right.
are you a
Did I?
man with such neat handwriting?
Well, I don't. I used to be a sign painter
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Look, dude. I need
of
you.
sorts, as I always say. So
Did he
okay,
just cuss me?
I don't know what that word was. That was
so we're we're
Speaking
moving
pig
on
Latin.
down the equation here. So you've got 323 times 10, and then the questionable meaning and the discount,
Yeah.
you know, canceled each other out. So
I feel
we're
like he's selling me a car.
we're at 3230 still.
Your payments for a month are.
Yeah. Yeah, sign here. No, wait a minute. We'll do it electronically. I'll sign for you, okay? Yeah. Okay.
Do you want the maintenance program to go with that?
Yeah. Man, you're making me reminisce about my
I'm giving you the
my
hot sweats.
truck.
The Bob. Did you say Bob sweats?
The hot sweats.
Oh,
Hot sweats.
the Bob sweats.
Bob
Yeah, I
sweats.
don't
I've
wanna
got the
buy
Bob.
it.
That's a T-shirt. I got the Bob sweats.
Okay, so
That's your background singers, the Bob sweats.
That's so good. Bob Ebling and the Bob sweats. One night only. Love it. That's
coming up
so
At
good.
the Salvation
Thursday
Army
at 2
on
o'clock.
3rd Street.
Yeah. Come see us.
Dude, that is hysterical. That is the funniest thing you've said so far.
Well, you haven't even let me finish. I'm not even going to finish.
No,
you
no,
got
go
to.
ahead. We're sorry. Look, we'll just go here.
I'll
with
let
you.
you go.
Well, at least you got my group named. Okay. So we're at 3230, and then I gave them 115 points for, that's a bonus for being together for 50 years. So that brings us to 3345, divided by 10, because there's 10 songs,
Yeah.
is 334.5 per song out of a possible 323.
So
So you
Plus-
got more than the possible
Yeah.
score.
So if this
Plus-
was school, it would be A plus plus.
yeah. it would be.
Well, there's actually
There's
an
more.
additional.
Oh,
It's
Lord.
plus 1.5 cups of coffee.
Nice.
okay.
That was taken from his score, and I liked his.
Is
you
it
know.
Vietnamese?
Vietnamese?
Vietnamese.
I thought the way Alan says it, it's like I think of my knees.
Y'all are hurtful.
It's okay. You can say it any
It's a
way you
speech
want.
impediment.
Listen, stay uncool. Speak like you want to.
Oh, so we're going to be offering shirts that say "One Night Only," Bob and the Bob Sweats. You said the what?
The Salvation Army on
So,
3rd
look,
Street.
that's going to be a shirt. That would be.
2:00 on Thursday.
I'm telling you what, that'll be our most popular
It should
shirt.
say 2 to 2:15 on it.
Park in the back.
Yeah.
Dude, that's brilliant. We have come up with magic right now.
Okay. I like it.
Whoa.
Sounds like
All right,
thunder
sounds
outside.
like we better get going.
Yeah, I want to
Is
have the
that
Bob
thunder?
Yeah,
sweats.
that was thunder. That's nasty out there.
Hey, it's pretty cool. We have that a lot around here.
So thank you, Bob, for that. That was fun. So, Andrew, your final thoughts? Or are we going to ask our questions?
Let's do our questions, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
My question is, where do you rank this in power trios? ZZ
Oh,
Top.
that's a good question because there's so many good ones. There's Cream, there's Rush, there's Government Mule, Nirvana. All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Out on a limb.
All right, I'm going to rank them as number one because they're still together. Okay? And even though you take the other power trios that we talked about, even though a couple of them are still around, like Government Mule, pushing probably 30 years or so now, it's not 50 years. And they're still relevant, and they're still influential. So I would say number one.
I would too, and I really like Grand Funk Railroad from way back in the day, and Rush. I'm actually a fan of theirs too. You probably are surprised at
I
that,
am,
but
actually.
but no, I look at their skill level, and it's in the stratosphere.
Oh yeah.
So, but still, ZZ Top. I don't know, just something about the cool factor to me puts them number one for me.
Yeah. He even played himself on Bones. Have you ever seen the show Bones?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I've seen it. I haven't seen that
He
one,
plays
though.
himself.
Nice.
And it's fun because there's a couple of cool scenes in there where his daughter is going to marry one of the guys, and he goes, "But your dad is a rock star." And she's like, "That's why I don't tell anybody." And he takes him out one night in a hot rod, and it's just, you got to see it. But anyway,
And everybody thinks that he's actually her father.
yeah. I mean, she's
He
got,
did a good job.
yeah.
I watched it.
So, all right. So that was a great. Whoever asked that, that was a great question.
Thanks. I have my moments.
Rarely. What's your...
I guess my question would be, which one's beard was better, Dusty Hill or Billy Gibbons?
I gotta say Billy's.
Because Dusty's kind of came in two
Yeah.
separate, and Billy's was.
I like Billy's.
Yeah. Plus,
Yeah.
I mean, as cool as Dusty was,
Yeah.
Billy's Billy.
cool.
He
Yeah.
walks into a room, you're like, I don't know who that cat is,
Yeah.
but he's cool as hell.
Well, I'm going to say, just as Dusty's advocate, I like Dusty's better because he's the bass player.
Dusty's advocate.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a children's foundation.
Dusty's advocate. we
Please send us
all these-
$5.
and we will grow these children's beards for them.
Man, I just don't know
We
how
will
they got them that
give
long.
We'll give these kids the beard they've always wanted.
Help us grow beards for children.
You remember
Dusty's
when you were 13 and you wanted a beard? Help these kids out.
So look, there's another T-shirt. We got to make it big, man, so we can start selling some merch.
Yeah. It'd be fun merch. All right.
Did you give your question yet?
My question. Let's see. My question. It's going to be a little a little strange.
Okay.
Let me
Would
ask you a
you-
question.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Would you let Reverend Billy officiate your next wedding?
Is he?
He's a reverend.
Is he now?
Yeah.
Then yeah. If there was ever a chance I was going to get married,
Well, you can
again,
renew your vows.
I'll get him to renew. Yeah, let's do that.
Look where he was thinking
I
versus
know, and
where
I'm like,
you were
well, I'm
thinking.
staying with my wife, and he's looking for well, if I find another one, you know.
I'm sorry, I had a temporary lapse of sanity. Yeah. Just to say that I wish he was around to officiate when I got married. I'll put it that.
Nice recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have.
I think having Billy on the beach renewing our vows would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can make that happen.
We get all three of us do it at the same time.
We'll
And then
get-
go out for seafood.
Yeah.
Let's get our producer on this.
Okay.
And get HR on it.
Do we even have
Get
a
our
producer?
get our
Several producers.
get our accounting department together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have our people call his people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We got some powerful people in the business.
Yeah.
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 Do?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
that
you
guy.
Yeah.
We can't say it on here, but we got that guy.
We signed the NDA because we're not
exactly.
ready. There's an announcement coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, since Billy's involved, Bill Ham, producer,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. I'm down.
maybe.
Okay. That's all I've got.
My tea's empty.
All right,
we're
I
done.
guess we're all empty. On that note, you good? You good?
I'm good.
All right. As always, stay uncool. Like what you like. Deuces.
Woo!